Welcome, Star Trek Fleet Commanders. This is the video that I promised regarding the Outlaw store, the Stella, and the Outlaw research tree. If you focus on this video, you'll learn some of the best practice, and you will be strong with the Force, my young Padawan. There's a shout out to Val. He said I need to have a sense of humor. I'm working on that big time. But anyways, back to the meat of the content. Okay, so upgrading the Stella, it's important to do that. You want to upgrade it as high as you can so that you can scrap it, so you can invest in more into the Stella and invest in the actual research tree. These different items up here and this, you definitely want to do these 4 items as often as possible. By doing the actual Stella uncommons, you will be able to do this exchange and heist loot, which will give you massive amounts of rogue reputation and those rogue credits that can be used down here in the actual outlaw tree to not the outlaw tree, but the outlaw recruit section, so that you can work on getting more of these officers. Now the payouts on this aren't that great, but with some of them, I mean, this is the only way to get a couple of these officers, and getting all the officers that you can will become more important as you continue to play. The officers themselves may not have a big use case. However, to upgrade one of the buildings in your base, you need to upgrade a number of officers to certain levels just to be able to upgrade. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, to do the upgrades, specifically for the Stella itself, we have uncommon uranium, rare uranium, and epic uranium. This is also referred to as green goo, blue goo, and purple goo. The green goo is easy to obtain. Typically, you'll want to do a single turn-in, or at times, depending on how your credits are, a secondary turn-in for 2 chests. Uranium, I would go with doing the single chest, and also with the epic uranium or purple goo, I would do the single turn-in. Because that means you're going to be able to do these turn-ins every single time they come available. Very important. With upgrading the Stella, it should be fairly easy to get this green goo to upgrade it. You will run into some delays and challenges with the actual blue goo, but the big bottleneck ends up being this purple goo. You will be able to take the Stella up to tier 7, 8 with these 2 items. 8 and 9 components use this epic uranium purple goo, and that ends up being a bottleneck. However, the payouts can be very generous. So let's go into the payouts and look and see what we get when we are scrapping. I have 2 Stellas. One is maxed and one is at level 35. Let's go ahead and look at the scrapping. On the level 45 ship, your Stella particles, which is the main thing that you want to get in these scrappings. Look at that, 467k. That is a lot. You can do massive amounts of upgrades with this amount. However, like I said, getting that purple goo can be a pain. So, recommend starting scrapping at an earlier stage while you build up your blue and purple goo for later on. Okay, so you'll notice my Stella here at level 35. Let's go ahead and look at what some of the rewards are. The rewards are about a quarter at 135 or 131 of the 45 level scrap. So this is still a good payout, and the beauty behind this one is when you go to actually do the upgrades, what you have to do to upgrade is much less in regards to the goo and possibly other materials. I don't remember exactly what some of those other materials are off the top of my head, but let's go ahead and look at this one. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at upgrading. You'll notice I have some components upgraded. Okay, so at tier 7, you know, with that, you know, 131 payout, all of these components here require purple goo. Now, the purple goo to get these levels up there are not as bad as the next level. So let's go ahead and upgrade this ship to the next level. And I am just going to go ahead and speed through everything so we can actually see what the payouts are for this. Let's go ahead and do a couple of these. Boom, boom. Okay, so that's upgraded. Now, you will notice that these payouts, or these amounts, 210, 410, or 420, 210, 840. The guns end up becoming a lot. 840. 1680. So to upgrade to the next level, it's going to take multiple turn-ins of the purple goo to get you up where you need to be. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and level through this, use some good old latinum to get me there, just so we can see what that level 40 payout is without any upgrades. Okay, so I need to switch ships because it will not allow me to view it in the scrapyard to see what that is. So upgrading to a level 40 with the purple goo only gives you 165 of the Stella particles. So with that said, we have just learned that the ideal scrapping, especially lower on in the game where you're really having problems getting the purple goo, is level 35 for the Stella. Get that 131 in Stella particles. Use that to upgrade your Outlaw tree. Okay, so you know, so like I said, I'm going to reiterate: level 35 is the ideal scrapping level for the Stella to get you going without being bottlenecked by the purple goo. Now, at some point, you will probably want to go ahead and do a level 45 scrap, get that massive amount, and then work on building back up. You will notice I actually have 2 Stellas, and it is ideal to get 2 Stellas. Unfortunately, that second Stella typically costs you about $100. So, with that said, having 2 of them, you can run into armadas. You can work on, you know, the scrapping strategy, getting them up to level 35s, and then going ahead and scrapping a ship, and then scrapping the next ship, and then building and going from there. So that, you know, this is the ideal. I mean, I've heard of people actually having 3 Stellas. That's a little bit of overkill, so I don't recommend doing that. Okay, so you know, we've gone over some about the Stella. Let's also go back into the Outlaw faction, because I want to show you about a little bit about the scrapping. Once you scrap your Stella, it's going to show up here, and this is where you want to go to click and get your blueprints back, because you get to reclaim them when you scrap. So that's you know, that's how you do that. Just wanted to make sure you're aware of that and, you know how to do that. Okay, let's move on to the actual research on the Outlaw tree. So, Outlaw. Okay, so we have all kinds of research here. Tons of it, actually. And thank goodness it doesn't go any further than this. But this does take a lot to upgrade. There are 160 upgrades in this. And that will... And when I say 160 that apply specifically to the Stella ship itself. Some of them apply to other things. Now, let's look at this. Some of the important things I would recommend working on: Apex getaway pilots, which gives you 100 in warp speed for all your ships. There are different upgrades in here that work for all your ships, work for your building research, and that type of stuff. Let's see, Outlaw mechanics, reduce base repair costs for all ships. That'll help you just save on using those speed ups. Just some different things that will help you out in the game. Let's see, lightweight engines, bonus base warp speed with empty cargo for all ships. In other words, get your miners out to where they need to be as rapidly as possible. Now, some of the important things you do want to look at in all of these researches, and this counts for all trees, is you want to look for this money sign. The money sign means it is some type of efficiency that decrease some kind of cost in the game. An important one is bartering for cost efficiency of interceptor parts. Actually, all the parts there, because it decreases the amount that you would either A, have to spend in Latinum, or B, as you progress into the game into the level 40s where you have to use uncommon parts, that will reduce the amount of uncommon parts that you have to use. Uncommon parts is basically a bottleneck, just like the gas, crystal, and ore in the game. So that's something to keep in mind. Do every efficiency that you can in the game. So when we move on down to this area, you'll notice we have Stella research. It unlocks the ability to build the Stella and grants it bonus shots versus all Eclipse armadas. So that right there is the research that you have to actually do to build your Stella. So you got to get to at least that point. Then there are the actual Stella researches. Many of these apply only to the Stella, but some of them are other efficiencies that can help you out with things. Some of those efficiencies are the crystal research efficiency and the crystal building efficiency. Pay note to the actual lines that you have to get there to upgrade that. You want to upgrade these as high as possible, as fast as possible, and ideally on officer Saturdays, where you can actually do the upgrades, count towards your officers, and hopefully get some shards for officers. So that is the ideal time to spend your ore, gas, and crystal to get you some officer shards. That's big. That's important. So timing can be key in this game. So going forward, also want to note two things. Augment credit yield. This allows you to get up to 50% more of the augment credits to use in the Outlaw tree, as well as the assimilated credit yield, which this will help you get your independent credit bundles in the board store. So it increases payout, so you definitely want to work on those. There are rogue halls and rogue shields. These give bonus base shield HP for all ships. So if you're having some struggling in your combat, you definitely want to work on these items here to make all your ships more powerful. And at the end of the day, that's going to make your grinding, your PvP, if that's your thing, better. So these two upgrades are very important in that. Here's one, Prime Stella efficiency. This may be a cost one, or it may be one that at some point you can use some of your scrapped ships. Some of your your Fed Klingon Romulan scrapped ships later on in the game to turn in for this. I can't remember off the top of my head. And then there are some other things like this Apex Chop Shop, which bonus base scrapping speed of 50%. Now for this turn in, you need to earn these types of metals, which this specific metal, I cannot remember if it's in the Outlaw store or if it's in away team missions. Granted, I think that this should be based on Outlaw events now that I'm thinking about it. So you'll notice bunch of little upgrades here, that actually just apply to Stella upgrades. And this will be more important as you move into the more powerful Stella armadas. So that, that's definitely something you want to focus on. Here again is another efficiency for your building and your research. So definitely want to do that. And then there's some more primes. Here is Apex Rogue Notary. It improves your output of rogue reputation bundles in the faction store by 35%. Now this really isn't that big of a deal, but you can go ahead and do it anyways with these medals. Reason it's not that big a deal is the Outlaw tree actually, or the Outlaw faction rep actually maxes at 1 million, and it caps out at that point. So that's actually the easiest tree to get maxed out. So that, but as we go further down the thing, you'll notice there's more of these efficiencies, which are very important across the board. And then scrolling down towards the end, you'll notice Out of the Darkness and then Mud's Mud. These both grant you particular missions that are useful to do different things in the game. I'm a bit, since I'm past these in the level, I can't tell you exactly what missions they do and what the value of those missions are, but you do want to do the missions. So, moving on, G4 Impulse. Once you get your G4 ships, they are not the fastest ships in the game. You will want to upgrade them as much as possible. And I've been trying to do that, but right now, well, I could do that, but I need to save this up for the Saturday event. Okay, so this is something you want to get happen, because this is going to impact all level tier 4, grade 4 ships, however you want to say it. Make them faster. This will also increase the speed of your Mantis. Now, getaway pilots increases that warp speed for all your ships. Helpful, especially a little later on the game when you are going into deep space, and some of the places take like 8, 9, 10 minutes to get there. So that's something you definitely want to work on. I'm a little behind in that area. Okay, last but not least, the tritanium and dilithium upgrades. Let's look at the dilithium upgrade. Dilithium and this new dilithium base cost efficiency for ship components. This works for dilithium. The tritanium one works for tritanium. Now, as you'll notice, this does scale up all the way to 40%. Now you're wondering, well, why in the world is this that big a deal for ship components? Well, as the game progresses, the ships that you actually are using end up requiring more and more tritanium and dilithium. So that can be a bottleneck if you're not careful. Now, I'm a level 49 player, so some of these payouts, or some of these things to upgrade my components cost a couple billion per component to upgrade. So that can be a bottleneck, a pain point, that kind of thing. And then, the higher the ships, the more it costs to upgrade, the more it costs to repair. So do your efficiencies. I mean, very important to do your efficiencies. So that's some about the Stella, the Outlaw tree, and things relating to that, and research, and all that fun stuff. So one of the goals is to max out your research with the Stella. And I'm going to go ahead and show you real quick how you can see exactly where you are with your Stella. So go ahead and find a Stella, look at it, look at upgrade. You'll notice right here I have 115 of 160 upgrades. If you click on it, it'll take you to what they recommend to be the next upgrade that you can work on. And as you'll notice, I have a little bit of a bottleneck here with my Stella particles. So, something to keep in mind. Like I said, I'm going to reiterate, probably for the third time, good idea to scrap Stella at level 35 for a solid payout so you can start in your research without being bottlenecked, dragged down, slowed down with the purple goo. So that's something to keep in mind. Can't stress that enough. But do these researches, especially these efficiencies, and reiterate the $ in any of the researches is some type of an efficiency, and as the game progresses, these efficiencies are absolutely vital. Quick example, at my level 49, to go from 49 to level 52, I have to use about 8 trillion parse steel. So efficiencies count big time, especially at the level that I'm at. So taking things slow, making sure I have the right upgrades, so I don't get stuck by not having the right amount of material. So efficiency, efficiency, efficiency. Remember that. Okay, so that's about all I'm going to cover in this video. It is a bit of a lengthy video, but we've covered practically everything that there is to cover in these different areas. Now that I say that, I just thought of something else in the Outlaw tree. Well, actually, I was mistaken. I was thinking of the augment tree. We'll do that one in a different video. So thank you for your time, and I hope this helps you out in your Stella journey. Have fun at it, and I'll look to play in the game with you. Thank you.